Isn't this great? The salty sea air, the wind blowing in your face, perfect day to be at the sea. Ariel from Little Mermaid. If you didn't catch that, we're going to talk about the ocean. The perks of the information presented today will help you become more aware of the direct influence the ocean has on you, such as how your clothes and technology arrive there, and why we don't know when we walk outside. For my credibility, I've read 5 to 12 scholarly articles and watched 36 documentaries detailing ocean functions and its role in the environment. I became interested in the ocean as there's always more than just a big body of water. Its mystery intrigued me. The main focus today will be discussing the various functions of the ocean, such as regulating climate, sustaining communities, and providing transportation for goods. By the way, I'm Dorsey. Let's dive on into our first function. And the first function is how the ocean regulates Earth's climate. The ocean does this by absorbing, storing, and releasing CO2 in various ways and places. One way of absorbing CO2 is through oceanic conveyor belts, which act as pumps, bringing the CO2 to the depths of the ocean. Another way are through the massive zoo and phytoplankton. Plankton consumes CO2 to grow, and upon death, they sink back down to the bottom of the ocean, preventing the CO2 from reaching the surface. Another process are ocean currents, which distribute heat equally across the globe. Currents are simply a movement of water in the ocean. The shape of the earth causes it to heat unevenly, and these currents The shape of the earth causes the heat unevenly, so currents distribute the heat equally and make the earth habitable. Now we're going to swim over to our second function. And that is how the ocean is vital to sustaining communities. The ocean provides a major economic boost. According to the NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the ocean, 1 in 6 jobs in the U.S. are marine related. Some of these jobs include fishing, boating, recreation, such as coral reef building, and marine biology, just to name a few. Moving on, we have tourism. Tourism is important to many communities, and the ocean contributes to that. Locations such as the Bahamas, Caribbean, and other coastal regions not only bring in visitors for their culture, but also for the view it provides to the seas. If you ever want to go on a tropical destination or hit up the ideal surf spot, you wouldn't just go for the experience or the fun, but also for the view that it provides by looking out over the ocean. It's time to delve further into our last function. And that is how the ocean provides access to transport goods. The ocean is a trading route of the world, NOAA. The ocean provides access to transport goods. The WWF states, Worldwide Fund for Nature, states that over 9% of trade between countries is carried by ships overseas. Over 9%. This means, for example, that most of the clothes, technology, and probably these destined here are manufactured overseas and shipped to the U.S. In more detail, the vital routes used to transport these goods are maritime routes. These routes are corridors that try to limit land transport by linking ports acting as choke points. Ultimately, they help navigate big commercial shipping vessels for major markets. In other words, these are the routes used for more valuable goods. As we gather our thoughts and bring everything together, we know that the ocean regulates Earth's climate by absorbing, storing, and releasing CO2 and utilizing ocean currents. Also, how the ocean sustains communities by influencing economy and tourism. Lastly, how the ocean is utilized for the transportation of goods and the specific routes they use. Now that we know some essential functions, whenever you're looking at a certain product or eating a certain food or knowing the weather, think about how it got here. Without the ocean, it may have never reached your plate or your favorite place to shop. Just remember, the ocean makes it possible. That's all I have for you.
Will you start your PowerPoint from the end for me, please? I mean, from the beginning.
Want me to do a conclusion again?
No, just start. I want to see the PowerPoint from the beginning. Okay, so next slide. Do you see how he has incoming waves for his title? Did you notice the last title? It was Fading Tides. Okay, so he used his titles to go right along with the ocean, if you will. Incoming waves. He's starting to tell you what's going to go on or what's going to happen. So this is the incoming information. Go to your next one, please. And then he tells you about the climate. That's one of his main points next. Tells you about the communities. What's the NOAA?
National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Okay, make sure you tell us what that is. I missed that.
I said this, but I probably didn't.
And you talk so fast. Next one. Okay, then he tells you about the transport, then the final one, I guess it is. And then he tells you about the fading ties. I just thought that was so kind of cool in terms of creativity. So think about that when you're doing those kind of things, that you too can make those things happen as well. All right, thank you. You guys are doing a good job. Whenever someone distracts you from something else, that's what will happen. You'll lose your place and you'll remember who you are. Which is why it's not a good idea to always do that. And just have your makeup with these solutions referred to them so you can figure out. Even if you add just one to do something, you know, climb like this and that. Good transitions, by the way. So just think about that. And then when you see it, watch your video, maybe it'll help. Press the button so where it says slideshow, and then over there, and then from beginning, so we don't see the, there you go. What did you click to make that happen? Oh, that little thing up there. What is that? Is that like a little?
It's like a screen, like a monitor.
Okay, thank you. I always had to go through the slideshow and then the other, so that's just one step. I learned something this morning. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm like, what'd you do? What'd you do? Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute.